The FlightScope Mevo Plus and the Rapsodo MLM2PRO are two of the very best golf launch monitors out there. And if you're in the market for a golf launch monitor, trying to decide between these two can be a little bit tricky. The Rapsodo is a lot cheaper, but has an expensive subscription. This, more expensive, but also much more feature heavy and no subscription. I have tested both of these extensively, as well as just about all of their major competitors. But if you've finally narrowed it down and you've decided one of these two devices is right for you, today I'm gonna help you make that decision once and for all. I'm gonna break down the Mevo Plus and the Rapsodo into a bunch of categories to help you figure out which one is right for you. Because just because this one's more expensive does not necessarily mean it's the right fit for your needs. So if you're ready to dive into the differences and the pros and cons of the Mevo Plus and the MLM2PRO, let's go. Today's video is for you. Okay, first up, let's talk packaging and presentation. So one of the things I love about both of these devices is that they both actually come with carrying cases. You would be surprised how many launch monitors that are, in some cases, more expensive than these don't come with any way to transport them. So the fact both of these have that is excellent. They're both pretty basic canvas carrying cases, nothing over the top, but the fact you have them at all is really nice. So there's no clear winner here. So when it comes to packaging and presentation, this one's a tie. Similarly, when we're talking size and portability, you look at these cases, they're pretty similar, as well as this. Even though this one is a little bit taller, it comes with the removable stand, so you just pop that on, it folds down to go in the carrying case. When it comes to size and portability, it's also a tie. You could slip either of these into your golf bag and pretty much forget that it's there. So if you're someone who plans to use your launch monitor both at home and at the range, either of these will work well. The next category is ease of setup, and while both of these are generally pretty easy to set up, the winner is definitely the Rapsodo. I found it easier to connect to my phone or my iPad, and the alignment process I found to be much faster and easier to do with the Rapsodo. So in my opinion, this is probably the biggest drawback of the Mevo Plus, is that when you're connecting it, you're definitely gonna have to make sure you take a couple extra minutes to make sure that everything is aligned properly. The app does a good job of walking you through this, but if you don't take that time to make sure everything is perfectly lined up, your results are not going to be as good. If you do take the time to do this, the accuracy on this thing is excellent, but if you don't, you might run into some issues. So for those reasons, if connectivity and setup is one of your big priorities, then this is going to get you on the course faster. Next up is space requirements. So while both of these do have built-in cameras that will help track the ball, they're predominantly using tracking based on Doppler radar. And so what that means is you're gonna have to place the device 7 to 8 feet behind you, and you're gonna need at least 7 to 8 feet in front of you in order to get accurate results. This is in comparison to some photometric systems like the SkyTrack Plus or the Bushnell Launch Pro, the Unicore Eye Mini, where those are predominantly using cameras that sit right next to the ball. So you don't need that 7 to 8 feet behind you. So technically with the Rapsodo, they recommend you have 7 feet behind you and 8 feet in front of you. In the FlightScope, they recommend 8 feet behind you as well as 8 feet in front of you. So for all practical purposes, it's mostly the same, but since they recommend a foot less with the Rapsodo, we'll give the edge to Rapsodo for this one. Next category is simulator options. So we definitely got to give some props to the Rapsodo here because the fact it has simulator capabilities at all, considering it's only $700, is really impressive. It comes with a free mobile E6 subscription that has 5 courses, so you can play those 5 courses on your phone or on your iPad, which is awesome. But the Mevo Plus, it takes things to a completely different level. It also comes with an E6 subscription, but it includes courses like St. Andrews, Pebble Beach, Bethpage Black, some really, really solid courses that are better than what you're going to get with E6. But more importantly, it doesn't just get you mobile access, it also gets you access to E6 on your PC. So if you're actually looking to set up a simulator at home, the fact you can use a gaming PC to get way better resolution and way better performance definitely gives a big nod to the FlightScope here. One feature where the Rapsodo does get the edge though is in its courses feature. So while these aren't full 3D simulated rounds, you essentially are able to play over 43,000 courses that are built into the app. So while you don't get the full simulated experience, the fact you can still play these courses and still hit the shots and follow along on the app is really impressive. Rapsodo also recently released an update that helps factor in elevation as well, so it's even more accurate and more realistic than it used to be. So the Mevo Plus, while the full simulator capabilities are way better, it doesn't really have anything that's comparable to this Rapsodo courses feature that is honestly a lot of fun. The other major device that does something similar is the Garmin R10 with their Home T Hero feature. So if you're looking for a similar device at a similar price point, I would definitely go check that one out as well. And while both the Rapsodo and the FlightScope are compatible with some third-party solutions, the FlightScope definitely wins in this regard, especially considering there is no subscription fee. So let's say you want to use GS Pro, you don't have to pay FlightScope a separate subscription just for the ability to do that. You just have to pay the $250 annual fee for GS Pro. Pretty much every other golf launch monitor is going to charge you a subscription on top of whatever that third-party solution is. They're going to charge you a subscription just to be able to connect it to the device. So we're going to talk more about subscriptions in a second, but the fact you've got more options at higher quality with no subscriptions makes the simulator capabilities a no-brainer. The Mevo Plus is the winner. All right, next up, let's talk accuracy. And honestly, accuracy I don't think should be the big factor here because both of these are very reasonably accurate, assuming you take the time to set them both up properly. I've compared both of them to a TrackMan, and overall accuracy is relatively similar. There were no major outliers or nothing that would make me think that, oh, these aren't going to be actually useful for you when you're using them in real life, both indoors or outdoors. So with both of these, accuracy can be a little bit variable depending on your personal setup, so just keep that in mind. All that to say, I did find the Mevo Plus in my testing to be more accurate both indoors and outdoors when compared to the Rapsodo MLM2PRO. However, if your most important metric is spin, the Rapsodo does get the edge under certain conditions. That is, if you're using it indoors and you're using Rapsodo RPT balls. So essentially, these are just special balls with dots on it that high-speed camera can track as the ball's moving to give you more accurate spin numbers. But since these are expensive balls, you're probably not going to be just hitting them out into whatever range you are using, so it's really only going to make a difference if you are using it indoors. Otherwise, I found the spin numbers on the Mevo Plus to be as accurate or even a little bit better if you're not using those special balls. One other thing to note when it comes to accuracy is the Rapsodo is only measuring a handful of data points, and then it uses an algorithm to give you a number, whereas the Mevo Plus is directly measuring most of the metrics it uses. This is one of the big differences you will find between budget launch monitors and ones that are more expensive, is that calculation versus the direct measurement. So like I said, the Rapsodo is still very accurate even though it is calculating a lot of its numbers. The fact that the Mevo Plus is directly measuring those statistics, that definitely helps give it an edge here. Hey, so are you still not sure if one of these is right for you? Go take our 30-second quiz. You're gonna answer a few questions about what you're looking for, and I'm gonna give you my best recommendation based on the device that I think is the best fit for your needs. So definitely go check it out. You can do it right now while you're watching the video, and let's get back to it. Next up, we got features and app experience, and this is where these two devices are really pretty different. The Mevo Plus essentially feels like a professional tool. Like if you are a club fitter, if you are a trainer, you can go in and you can customize this however you want. You can see whatever data you want. They really make it easy to get all the data you could ever want and display all that data however you could want. The Rapsodo, on the other hand, is definitely more consumer focused. And that means it is a little bit more simple. So for some people that really value a simple experience and they're not looking to get really into the weeds with their data, you might like the Rapsodo more. But for me, it's night and day. I have found the FlightScope experience to just be so much better. I will say I do like the way Rapsodo builds in replay videos of your shot. So after every single shot, you can immediately see the replay, which works great, especially if you're using an iPad. I just don't like the fact that they make it more difficult to customize and see the exact data you want while you are also getting that video. Whereas the FlightScope allows you to customize that a lot more, and they give you the option to use a multi-camera setup. So you can set up to 3 different cameras to get different views of your swing, which gives you a really professional looking setup. When you throw in the Pro package that gives you all the D-plane information, as well as the impact detection package, which is the only device I know of that will give you impact detection and show you exactly where on the face you're hitting the ball under $10,000, and it works really well. You throw all that stuff in, and the app experience and the features that you get with the Mevo Plus are second to none and definitely beat the Rapsodo. All right, next category is price, and then we're gonna talk subscriptions. So this one is pretty obvious. The Rapsodo MLM2PRO, $699. The FlightScope Mevo Plus, $2,299. And if you want some of the added capabilities like the D-plane suite, like impact detection, you're gonna have to spend extra on top of that. The good news is, and I wanna make sure I mention this, is you can almost always find sales on the FlightScope. So 80% of the time, they've got it on sale for $1,954. And on top of that, you can use our coupon code, which is Breaking80+, and that's gonna knock off another 5%, which is gonna bring it down to $1,854. If you're just looking for a base Mevo Plus, that's the price you should be targeting. If you find it there or anywhere under that, you're getting a really good deal. But that's still a lot more than the Rapsodo. The Rapsodo you will not see on sale as often. I will very occasionally see it drop down to $649. You can probably look for that price around Black Friday, but for only like a $50 savings, if you're thinking about buying it, personally, I think you're better off just buying it whenever you're ready because you're not going to see the sales that you will see on the FlightScope Mevo Plus. But with all of that said, the winner of this category is pretty obvious. It's a whole lot cheaper, the MLM2PRO. So for upfront cost, it's a no-brainer, MLM2PRO. But when you look at the longer-term cost of ownership, things change a little bit. So what do I mean by that? We're talking subscriptions. It seems like every golf tech product out there these days has a subscription. A lot of companies, they're losing money or not making a whole lot of money on the hardware. The way they make their money and support themselves as a company is through these subscriptions, which is great for them, but terrible for consumers. We all hate it. That is one of the major reasons why I love the FlightScope Mevo Plus. I'm honestly kind of shocked that they haven't worked in a subscription, and I hope that they don't because it is one of the biggest selling points. So if you go out today and you buy it for $1,854, your cost of ownership for the next 5 years is $1,854, assuming you don't upgrade to one of the other packages. The same, unfortunately, is not true for the MLM2PRO. So to access pretty much all the features I mentioned for the Rapsodo, the high-speed camera for more accurate spin detection, Rapsodo Combine, Rapsodo courses, all of those things, you're going to need their subscription, which is $200 a year. The good news is you get it for your first year for free, but every year after that, it's going to be $200. So if you look at cost of ownership over 5 years, the Mevo Plus is still more expensive, but it's only a few hundred more dollars, and the accuracy, features, level of professionalism is all a big step above the Rapsodo. So when it comes to subscriptions, the Mevo Plus is the clear winner. And so for a lot of you, it's simply going to come down to, are you okay spending a little bit more upfront, or is that a little bit too much and you want to space things out a little bit? So when you take all of that stuff and you factor it in, which one is the winner? Well, honestly, there is no one winner because your needs might be different from mine, might be different from the guy down the street. For what it's worth, the Mevo Plus is the device I personally use the most. It's the one I keep coming back to for my personal practice, just because I love the way the app works, I like the accuracy, and the fact there is no subscription is definitely a big win. But if you're on a budget up front, you like a more simple user experience, and your simulator use is more going to be for fun than having like a super high-end dedicated simulator, the Rapsodo is excellent. Like I said, the fact that accuracy is as good as it is at that price point is pretty phenomenal. And if you can get over the $200 subscription, which I honestly do think is a pretty good value for what you get as long as you are using this on a regular basis, then the Rapsodo is still an excellent device that is going to be a great fit for a lot of people. I hope you found this valuable. If you're still not sure which launch monitor is right for you, go take our 30-second quiz. You're going to answer a few questions about what you're looking for, and I'm going to give you my best recommendation based on the device that I think is going to be the best fit for your needs. If you got some value out of this, make sure to hit subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, drop a comment if you have any questions, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.